Are you tired of waking up at 3 a.m. for no good reason, feeling wired but exhausted, dealing with stiff shoulders, a busy mind that won't shut off, low morning energy, and that subtle anxiety that seems to show up more after 50? Have you noticed that even when you do everything right, you still wake up feeling like you didn't recharge? And maybe you've tried supplements, sleep gadgets, special pillows, melatonin, magnesium, mouth tape, white noise, you name it. Here's the shocker. For a lot of men over 50, the problem isn't a lack of products, it's a lack of nervous system signaling at the right time. And there's one simple, cheap, overlooked thing you can do with your own hand before sleep that many men ignore because it looks too basic to matter. Most people don't realize they've been trying to force sleep, when sleep is something you allow by flipping the right biological switch. Most people, when their sleep or stress starts slipping, do the most logical thing. They go shopping. They buy a stronger supplement. They increase the dose. They stack pills. They add another routine. They upgrade the mattress, the tracker, the deep sleep program. They make it complicated because the marketing makes it sound complicated. And the thing is, it feels responsible. It feels like you're taking action. But here's the real reason this normal approach still fails. It treats sleep like a mechanical problem, when for most men over 50, it's a signaling problem. It's not that your body can't sleep, it's that your body isn't getting the message that it's safe to sleep. Here's the reveal, and I want you to hear it clearly. A huge chunk of night waking, shallow sleep, and that tired but alert feeling is driven by an overactive stress response and a nervous system that never fully downshifts. The common approach fails because it tries to knock you out from the outside instead of guiding your biology from the inside. Biology over marketing. The better alternative is surprisingly simple: a 60-second pressure routine on the inner wrist, paired with slow breathing right before bed, not as a magic cure, not as a miracle pressure point, as a way to stimulate the body's built-in calming pathway so your brain gets the stand down signal. The key is you're not sedating yourself, you're regulating yourself. Most people don't realize your body runs on two gears at night: the stress gear and the recovery gear. When the stress gear stays half on, sleep becomes fragile. You drift off, then your system checks the perimeter at 1:30 or 3:40, and you're awake. What's happening is your sympathetic nervous system is still whispering, "Stay ready." And the pressure routine is a way to nudge the opposite gear, the parasympathetic system, to take the wheel. Another overlooked factor is timing. People take things an hour too early or 3 hours too late. They do a big routine when they still have momentum and screen light in their eyes. Then they wonder why their brain won't come down. Think of your nervous system like a dimmer switch, not a light switch. Most people keep flipping it on and off, and they never let it slide down smoothly. The inner wrist pressure routine works because it's a tiny cue right at the doorway of sleep. It's like telling your body, "We're done now." The common method loses effectiveness because it's either too aggressive or too random. The better alternative is a consistent cue that your biology can learn. Here's how to do it. Use two fingers from your opposite hand and find the soft groove on the inner wrist about 1 to 2 finger widths below the wrist crease, right in line with the center of your palm. You're not hunting for a mystical dot. You're looking for a tender, soft area where the tissues and nerves are close to the surface. Apply steady, comfortable pressure. Think a 4 to 6 out of 10, not pain, while you breathe in slowly through the nose for about 4 seconds and breathe out for about 6 to 8 seconds. Do that for about 30 seconds on one wrist, then 30 seconds on the other. That's it. Simple, cheap, repeatable. And notice what changes over 7 to 14 nights, not 7 to 14 minutes, because your nervous system learns through repetition. Most people don't realize the reason pressure plus breathing works isn't energy, it's physiology. Another overlooked factor is nerve traffic. Your skin and connective tissue are loaded with sensory receptors that send signals upward to the brain stem. If the signal is sharp and chaotic, like late night scrolling, loud news, intense workouts, your brain interprets that as stimulation. If the signal is steady and slow, like gentle pressure and long exhales, your brain interprets that as safety. Think of it like a crowded highway. Stress is traffic jammed in every lane, horns blaring. Gentle pressure plus slow breathing is traffic control opening a clean lane for the calm message to get through. The common method loses effectiveness because pills can't fix a brain that still thinks it needs to stay alert. The better alternative naturally solves that factor by changing the input your nervous system is receiving in real time. Another overlooked factor is carbon dioxide tolerance. Yeah, I know, that sounds technical, but it's simple. When you breathe fast and shallow, you blow off too much carbon dioxide. That can make your nervous system more jumpy and your heart rhythm less stable. When you lengthen the exhale, you keep a healthier balance, and that stabilizes the stress response. It's like adjusting the idle speed on an engine. Too high, and it keeps revving. The common method loses effectiveness because people take something calming but keep breathing like they're late for a flight. The better alternative solves it because the routine forces a slower breathing pattern, which shifts your autonomic balance toward recovery. Another overlooked factor is muscular guarding. Men over 50 often carry tension in the forearms, jaw, neck, and shoulders without realizing it. That tension is not just tight muscles, it's a protection program. Your nervous system uses muscle tone as armor, and when that armor stays on, sleep stays light. Here's the real reason the wrist works so well. The hands and forearms have dense nerve representation in the brain. Calming input there can downshift the whole system, like lowering the volume at the control panel. The common method loses effectiveness because it ignores the body's tension signals and tries to treat the brain alone. The better alternative naturally solves it by sending a calming signal through a high-impact sensory gateway. Another overlooked factor is hormonal signaling, especially cortisol. Cortisol isn't bad. It's supposed to be higher in the morning to get you moving and lower at night so you can repair. But stress, alcohol, late meals, and mental overload can keep cortisol elevated late. Then you fall asleep but wake up when that stress chemistry bumps you at night. Think of cortisol like an email alert system. You want it on during work hours, off during rest hours. The common method loses effectiveness because it tries to overpower the alert with a sedative approach. The better alternative supports regulation because parasympathetic activation tells the body, no alerts needed. Over time, that helps the pattern shift. Another overlooked factor is blood sugar stability. This is huge for men over 50. If dinner is heavy on refined carbs, or if you snack late, you can get a blood sugar dip at night that triggers adrenaline and glucagon to rescue you. You wake up, heart slightly racing, mind suddenly busy. That's not random insomnia. That's metabolic signaling. The wrist pressure routine doesn't fix your diet, but it can reduce the intensity of the stress spike by improving nervous system tone. The common method loses effectiveness because people think the only lever is melatonin. The better alternative helps because it builds resilience in the stress response, so when small dips happen, you don't pop awake as easily. Now, practical integration matters because the best method is the one you'll actually do. Here are easy ways to make this routine stick without turning your night into a ceremony. 1. Do it after you brush your teeth, before you get into bed. That links it to an existing habit. 2. Do it in bed with the lights already low, so your brain gets one consistent message: we're landing the plane. 3. Pair it with a simple phrase in your head like downshift now, because language itself is a signaling tool. 4. If you read before bed, do the wrist pressure routine right after you close the book, not before, so it becomes the final cue. 5. If you wake up at night, do one wrist for 20 to 30 seconds with long exhales instead of grabbing your phone. Sustainability beats intensity. You're training a response, not performing a ritual. And the thing is, objections will come up, so let's handle them like adults. What if you forget? Good. That means you're normal. The key is not perfection, it's frequency. If you do this 5 nights out of 7, that's enough repetition for the nervous system to start associating it with sleep. Most people don't realize the brain changes through patterns, not hero moments. Put a simple reminder where your hand already goes, on your nightstand, on your toothbrush holder, or even just a sticky note that says wrist. The common method creates an illusion of progress because you take a pill and assume you did something, even when your stress system stays loud. The better alternative works because it's a behavior that trains your biology. What if digestion is sensitive and you've been burned by supplements? Perfect. This is one reason this routine is so useful. It doesn't have to go through your gut. It doesn't rely on absorption or bioavailability. Another overlooked factor is gut barriers. After 50, the digestive system can be more reactive, stomach acid can change, and certain supplements can irritate you or wake you up. This routine bypasses all of that. The key is it's a nervous system input, not a chemical load. What if you already tried something similar, like acupressure, and it didn't work? Here's the real reason that happens. Most people do it like a one-off trick, too hard, too random, with no breathing control while still mentally working. That's like tapping the brakes while your foot is still on the gas. The difference here is the combination, steady pressure plus long exhale plus consistency. That synergy matters. In physiology, the combined signal is stronger than the individual signals because your brain integrates inputs. Pressure alone can be neutral. Breathing alone can be inconsistent. Together, they create a clearer downshift command. What if you think higher dose equals better and you want to press harder or longer? Don't. More intensity isn't more effect when you're working with the nervous system. Too much pressure becomes pain, and pain is a threat signal. Threat signals raise sympathetic activity, so you'd be doing the opposite. The key is comfortable pressure and slow breathing. Think signal, not force. Now let's expand benefits, because sleep is just the start. When your nervous system downshifts properly at night, your stress resilience improves during the day. When stress resilience improves, your mood stabilizes because your brain isn't running on constant adrenaline. When mood stabilizes, your relationships feel easier and your patience returns. When sleep quality improves, your energy becomes steadier, not that jagged caffeine and crash pattern. When energy stabilizes, you move more, and movement improves insulin sensitivity. When insulin sensitivity improves, belly fat becomes easier to manage and inflammation comes down. And when inflammation comes down, your joints feel better, your recovery improves, and your workouts stop feeling like punishment. Most people don't realize deep sleep is not just rest, it's repair chemistry. It's when growth hormone pulses. It's when tissues rebuild. It's when the brain clears metabolic waste through the lymphatic system. And that system doesn't care about fancy branding. It cares about whether your nervous system lets it run. This is why the simple pressure routine can have a multi-system payoff. Not because it's magic, because it supports the gatekeeper of recovery, autonomic balance. Another overlooked factor is heart rate variability, or HRV. You don't need to measure it to benefit from it, but it's a useful concept. Higher HRV generally reflects better adaptability of the nervous system. Low HRV often shows you're stuck in stress mode. Long exhales and calming sensory input can nudge HRV upward over time. Translation, your system becomes less brittle. The common method loses effectiveness because it's like borrowing sleep with interest. You knock yourself out, but you don't build resilience. The better alternative is like building a savings account in your nervous system. And here's the mindset shift, because this is where men over 50 can take back control. Stop chasing products like they're the answer. The body isn't impressed by labels. It responds to biological compatibility. It responds to signals it recognizes. Supporting beats forcing. Foundation beats hacks. You don't need a $300 gadget to do what your nervous system already knows how to do. You need the right input at the right time, consistently. Most people don't realize the best sleep aid is often not a substance. It's a signal. So tonight, stop wasting money on another quick fix that promises to knock you out. Stop assuming your sleep problem is a defect that requires a stronger product. Try the simple foundation. 60 seconds, inner wrist, steady pressure, long exhale, every night for 7 to 14 days. And if you wake up, use it again instead of feeding your brain more stimulation. Keep it calm. Keep it consistent. Let biology do what it does when you finally give it the right message.